What's up, y'all? Talon here. Today I'm back with another series of high-level rank battles featuring top teams in the Regulation E metagame. Today I have a team that was created by Jamie Boyt and piloted to, I believe, 9th place at the Gdansk Poland Regional Championship. Just missing on opponent's resistance on the top 8 and the opportunity to compete for the championship in that single elimination top 8 cut. Unfortunately didn't make that. Like I said, just really unlucky in the Swiss portion. That's really the most unfortunate luck-based part of tournaments at this point is the resistance system. I wish they'd do away with it, but Pokemon has done it for Swiss resistance-based results for since 2012, so over 11 years now, so not going anywhere anytime soon. But Jamie has found some success with this team across multiple events. He got top 4 at Toronto Regionals, and I think really kicked off a lot of similar Roaring Moon plus Arcanine Gholdengo Tailwind teams, and then a Tornadus Gholdengo Arcanine team ended up winning the whole event in Poland. So yeah, definitely something to be on the lookout, this Arcanine Gholdengo Roaring Moon combo. Before I move any further though, I do want to shout out Jamie Boyt. I have his Twitter and his YouTube account linked in the description below. Really innovative team builder, and he shared this team publicly. This isn't the exact team that he took to the tournament. He did make some improvements that based on the tournament, he basically mostly changed the Articuno set to be away from Calm Mind Recover to a Trick Room Protect one. That is represented here, but if you want to use the rental code with the original 6 with all the original movesets, Jamie did share that rental code on Twitter. I have that again linked in the description below, along with Pokepastes of this team and the rental code for this team. So check that out if you want to use the team on ladder yourself. And with all that being said, let's get into a breakdown of the team. This is a fairly standard Arcanine on Tailwind teams. Instead of going for the Head Smash, people usually either go Head Smash or Tera Blast with a defensive Tera. Jamie opted for the latter with a Tera Fairy, basically hitting Iron Hands and Urshifu for super effective damage, with otherwise you're not able to do. That damage is really significant on a team that otherwise can have limited ways to hit the Iron Hands. It's pretty strong into Roaring Moon if you don't Tera it. Gholdengo can kind of get chipped down with Wild Charges and Drain Punches eventually. Articuno Freezing Glare does a lot. Pardon me if my speaking is a little weak. I have a bit of a cough from a cold I'm still recovering from, but yeah, having the Tera Fairy Extreme Speed, or the Tera Fairy Tera Blast is just a lot of damage, and the rest is just stab options along with Extreme Speed, which is incredible utility in the late game, but I'm sure you've played a ton of Arcanine at this point. So moving on to the Articuno, which is definitely the standout, or at least the most peculiar to Pokemon on the team. Haven't seen a lot of Articuno. We saw some Kanto Articuno with the Snow Cloak earlier in the season from other basically on snow teams, but this one is the competitive one. So anytime you get intimidated or any stat drop, really, Icy Wind would also do the trick. You get a +2 boost to your special attack. So whereas Defiant, you get a +1 boost when you get intimidated because it goes -1 and then the +2, so to even out at a sum of 1. When you get intimidated on Articuno, you do just get the +2 special attack boost. There's nothing counteracting that, so you're able to do really incredible damage once you get those boosts. Freezing Glare is a pretty cool move. It has a chance to freeze, I believe. I think it's like 10%. It might be 20. I'm not entirely sure. I'll flash that on the screen afterwards. But this has a Tera Blast with Tera Ground that can come in really handy against, for example, Gholdengo, Arcanine, just on this team alone. So really good coverage combination with the Psychic and the Ground. Here we have Trick Room. So if you want to go for your Iron Hands or your bulky or Urshifu, set Trick Room up against basically faster teams, more Tailwind oriented teams that would otherwise beat you with a priority Tailwind. You can set that up, and then Protect is just good defensive utility overall. We are running Rocky Helmet here. If you don't go for the Tera type, basically you're able to survive an Urshifu Rocky Helmet and chip them down to 50% with the Rocky Helmet. If you do go for the Tera Ground, you definitely aren't going to be able to tank that. You might tank, if they don't have Tera going on, you might be able to tank 2, but you're definitely not tanking 3 and doing too much damage. But yeah, really cool Articuno set. And the Gholdengo is also pretty cool. It's a Nasty Plot Life Orb set with Tera Steel. Normally we see Tera Dragon with leftovers. This one choosing to go a more offensive route. It's also pretty speedy, but not quite as speedy as the max speed timid ones we've seen popping up. So maybe if you want to use the team for yourself, consider opting for the timid max speed. But Jamie did go for a modest, pretty bulky one, or not pretty bulky, but modest with a fair amount of speed and then HP dump. But it seems like the meta is starting to trend more just towards timid 252, 252 Gholdengo, so keep that in mind. Iron Hands is a pretty cool set. It is a close combat Ice Punch set with the Assault Vest. Usually we're seeing the Volt Switch or Heavy Slant as that force move slot, and then the Drain Punch as consistent healing. Nope, just 100% offense, take advantage of your Tailwind turns and take knockouts. Tera Ice can be, Jamie mentioned it's it's a pretty cool option against Tera Dragon Dondozo, another Tera Dragon Pokemon that definitely makes a lot of sense. Basically, chipping, just giving you a little edge in those matchups where people want to go for Tera Ground can make a lot of difference. Roaring Moon does kind of feel like the MVP of the team whenever I've seen it. The extreme bulk on this Pokemon, along with the Tailwind utility, and just going for knockoff and breaking swipe is a bit more consistent utility than Tornadus offers in Tailwind. You do get the Rain Dance on Tornadus to basically only support Urshifu, but the breaking swipe is consistently doing sizable chip as well as weakening the many physical attackers in the metagame. Then knockoff can get rid of any offensive items like Choice Band, Life Orb, Choice Specs, or get rid of defensive items like berries or Rocky Helmets to really enable the rest of the team to shine. Urshifu is the last member of the team, and although you're used to seeing Urshifu, this one's very interesting. It has Substitute to basically be able to alternate between Detect and Substitute against things like Trick Room. You have Ice Spinner to basically get rid of Grassy Surge or Grassy Terrain or Psychic Terrain, which can otherwise make Urshifu's life difficult, and this team's life difficult in general. And then Surging Strikes with Splash Plate and Terra Water is just your main damage option. Jamie did choose to make this Urshifu very, very specially bulky. I believe it lived a Terra Fairy or Terra Grass Energy Ball from a Flutter main on stream, so just very incredible bulk. You're really shrugging off like fairly super effective strong special damage and still surviving, which can really sway the tide of battle when your opponent is not expecting that. As a general approach with this team, I think going for the nasty plots on Gholdengo early game and then getting Tailwind up late game can be really effective for Gholdengo sweeps. Otherwise, going a little bit more straightforward, you could just lead the Roaring Moon with the Arcanine or the Iron Hands, the Urshifu, just go for damage right off the bat. And then against other Tailwind teams, you do have a kind of fold you can introduce into those Tailwind mirrors with the Trick Room on the Articuno. I think that makes a lot of sense. Although you have a lot of fast Pokemon in the, or relatively, I guess most of the Pokemon in this team are mid-speed. The Arcanine, Gholdengo, Urshifu won't be outspeeding that much. And Pokemon trained in max speed in the mirror will basically lose if you set up Trick Room, so that's an option that you have there. Hope you enjoyed the breakdown of the team. Once again, I have Jamie's video linked in the description below, along with a Pokepaste and the rental code of the team if you want to use it for yourself. If you enjoyed these videos, please consider subscribing to the channel. I'm going to be putting out a lot more. And yeah, with all that being said, let's get into the battles now. Okay, our opponent has Empoleon, Grimmsnarl, Iron Hands, Landorus, Therian Form, Moltres Galar, and Sinistra. So very bulky, definitely a lot of setup going on there. But I think we might be able to out-set up with the Gholdengo if we can handle the Iron Hands. I think Gholdengo does very, very well. I kind of like the idea of Articuno a bit. It's okay. I think it might be... it's pretty bad against Galarian Moltres, actually. That's a pretty unfavorable mirror. I don't hate Urshifu as a lead. I think... Yeah, the Empoleon's making this matchup a little more difficult than I'd like. I think I will go Gholdengo plus Iron Hands, go for a nasty plot right away, get that going on the field, and then go from there. I think in the back, I might like the Roaring Moon and the Arcanine to handle basically the Moltres and the Sinistra setup options on their team. I guess Sinistra could just be Hospitality support. That's definitely viable, but I do want to have that covered in case it is like a nasty plot or a Calm Mind set. I want to be able to knock that out pretty quick or force a Terra with the Arcanine. So they do go Moltres plus Grimmsnarl, which I'm totally okay with because it gives me a fairly free nasty plot fake out here. If I wanted to be very aggressive, I could just go like Terra Steel, Wild Charge. But I'm going to avoid doing that just because I think a Terra from them is reasonably... like, it's not out of the realm of possibility. I do have a bit of speed on my Iron Hands, so even if they are fake out Grimmsnarl, I would actually expect to outspeed here. Just because Jamie has he has EV'd the Iron Hands to be reasonably fast, I think it might be able to outspeed a Chi-Yu in Tailwind. I didn't look at the EVs right before this, but they are going for a Terra Ghost. Makes sense, you want to get your screen up, but I didn't fake out the Grimmsnarl, I went after the Moltres just to get my nasty plot set up. Turn your head and cough, just like I'm at the doctor's office. If you ever see me just like doing that, yeah, that's what I'm doing. But they do get the light screen up, and I go for fake out. Flinching their Moltres, and we actually see that we are a faster Grimmsnarl. So what I'm actually going to do here is I think... if I go Terra Steel, how badly do I get punished? I don't think I get punished too badly. They didn't get a nasty plot of their own up. I'm tempted to just go for a nasty plot here. Fiery Wrath will do a lot. Fiery Wrath will do a lot. I think I'd rather go Terra Steel. I can always protect on the next turn. Let's see, do I think they go Reflect or anything? Probably not. I think I'm just going to go Ice Punch into the Grimmsnarl. I don't want to activate Berserk on the Moltres. And I think a +4, even if they Spirit Break me, I bet a +3 Make It Rain knocks them out. So I'm just going to go for that next turn. My Ice Punch instead of Wild Charge just because I feel like if they're switching in anything here, it's going to be the Iron Hands or the Landorus. So I'm trying to catch one of those a little bit better than the Wild Charge would. We do get the nasty plot up. We'll see what they go for. They go for Fiery Wrath, and based on the damage, they would have done, yeah, pretty close. I mean, not close to a knockout on Grimmsnarl, but if they had crit, maybe. I feel like Protect is reasonably likely on the Moltres. I guess it doesn't matter though. I feel like a +3 Make It Rain through the screens will always knock them out anyways. So I think I'm going to go into the Roaring Moon here so that I can set up Tailwind the next turn. Like, because worst case would, I guess, be them parting shotting. Oh, they can't actually parting shot if I go into Roaring Moon. That's kind of an added bonus of this play, but definitely not the intended purpose. I'm going for Make It Rain just because if they parting shot, I want to have no protects though. I wanted to have Bleak Wind or Breaking Swipe pressure on the field, and if they go, yeah, we do crit the Moltres, which goes through screens, but I think with the Life Orb and the Terra Steel and being 3 times our original damage, I think the 2/3 damage reduction on the light screen probably wouldn't have worked to let them live that. So I'm not feeling too bad about it. But yeah, that's really a testament to the power of this Gholdengo. Steel is oftentimes a pretty decent defensive Terra type as long as you're not playing against fire or elemental damage. So yeah, Iron Hands comes in, but I think at this point I feel fine about that. They can fake me out for sure, but I think I can fairly safely go Make It Rain. If they fake out my Gholdengo, fair. But I think Breaking Swipe is just solid coverage. Like, they have to fake out Gholdengo to stop me from taking a knockout with the Make It Rain, and if they do that, I get Breaking Swipe, and Iron Hands' damage output just becomes very, very weak. None of that, though. Yeah, they're going to fold to Make It Rain here, I would expect. And I guess Shadow Ball would maybe be a little better. I just didn't want them to be Protect on the Sinistra and basically waste my Gholdengo going for Drain Punch. We do knock out the Sinistra, like, yeah, even with Light Screen, with +3, really I feel like Life Orb sets it over on a lot of these calculations, especially against Light Screen, but just incredible damage coming out from the Gholdengo. They did have Ice Punch, which does way less than if okay, yeah. I'm going to knock off their Assault Vest, which is an added combination you can do. We don't get to reveal it, but yeah, something you can do is basically sequence a game where you knock off Iron Hands early and then Shadow Ball later on does way more damage. I do think that was a good representation of a general game plan of this team though. Just go get the Gholdengo set up either with Fake Out or offensive pressure from another member on the team, and then either go Trick Room or Tailwind later on and just like sweep with your Make It Rain after you've gotten those boosts up. Even if you haven't done too much damage in the early game, it does stack up in the late game. Okay, this opponent has Dragonite, Ursaluna, Sinistra, Chien-Pao, Empoleon, and Urshifu. Seeing a lot of Empoleon this live, actually. Or not live, I guess, recording. It's not live for you guys. Is Freezing Glare good here? Not really. Is Rocky Helmet here good? Not really. They could be Ice Spin or Chien-Pao, honestly. I mean, yeah, just looking at this team, I feel like, once again, Gholdengo could be pretty strong. It's very strong against Dragonite, Blood Moon, Sinistra, and in Tailwind it's pretty strong against the rest. Does Urshifu have an argument here? It's okay. I feel like Close Combat would be good into the into Empoleon, but it is what it is. I'm really tempted to... I think I like Iron Hands as a lead a fair bit here. I think I pressure, especially with Ice Punch, all their Pokemon. Along with Tailwind, I can do a lot of damage that way. A late game Gholdengo could serve me well, and I think... Honestly, even if they... I think I like Arcanine here. Urshifu has its place to knock out Chien-Pao through Focus Sash if I go Terra Water, but I honestly don't anticipate keeping the... Basically, I anticipate the Empoleon potentially being a problem point, and I think if Iron Hands goes down, then I want to have big damage with Flare Blitz onto that immediately. Okay, it is Urshifu plus Sinistcha. I do like the fake out pressure we're applying right now onto the Urshifu. I could go Terra Poison if I think it's Terra Ghost, which is like not unrealistic, but usually if you're Terra Ghost, you are choice banded. So yeah, I don't know. I could go Tailwind, Ice, Tailwind Close Combat into the Urshifu. Let me check the speed on this Iron Hands. I do believe I'm Speedy Gonzalez. Yeah, 96 speed's crazy. I think I'm going to go Fake Out Knockoff into the Sinistcha. If they Terra Ghost, and they got me. But no, they go for Detect. Fair enough. So we could have doubled the Sinistcha, probably knocked it out with Knockoff Ice Punch, but I think we are relatively free. They're probably Strength Sapping here. Yeah, we could have taken a knockout, but would have been pretty aggressive. Matcha Gotcha I think is definitely fine as long as they don't burn me, but of course that is an option. Alright, heal 1, don't burn 1, and then heal 2. Burn neither, very good, okay. I wonder if they're Focus Sash. Honestly, I feel fine about... I'm very bulky. I would entirely expect to survive a hit here. The Sinistcha is kind of annoying. I think I'm just going to Breaking Swipe. Ice Punch it. Go for the knockout there. They definitely can't knock out my Urshifu. Or their Urshifu definitely can't knock out my Iron Hands. And I think after the Breaking Swipe, I should be able to survive a hit from the Urshifu and then maybe get a Tailwind up the next turn after I have broken a potential Focus Sash. They go Rage Powder, so I guess I couldn't have gone for Tailwind Close Combat regardless, so did cover that inadvertently, but yeah, that should have been on my mind, I guess, that they could have gone for that play. So yep, we're lowering their damage output and they go for the Close Combat, and we do live with the really strong defensive EV spread from Jamie, so... yeah, that works out exceptionally well. Now if they want to knock out my Roaring Moon, they do have to go directly into Dragonite and go for Extreme Speed, which reasonably likely, like I could have gone for Tailwind that turn, but I think breaking the potential Focus Sash on the Urshifu felt fine to me. Okay, there is the Dragonite. We did reveal Ice Punch. They've not gone for a Tera yet. Okay. What are we going to do about that? I think Arcanine's looking very... like, Terra Fairy Arcanine's looking pretty compelling. I think I'm going to go Wild Charge into the Dragonite. And you might think, okay, Ice Punch is just very free. I feel like... maybe Ice Punch is freer. I could just Close Combat the Urshifu. And they don't have a switch into that? Yeah, I will do that. I'm going to go Tailwind. Like, my thought process was initially, okay, if I get the Wild Charge damage onto this Dragonite, then I can clean it up with Extreme Speed on my Arcanine. Okay, they would have let me take the Dragonite, which is fair enough. I could have also protected there, but at that point, they just double up into me. They should probably go for Extreme Speed Wicked Blow that turn. Or Close Combat. But not going for Extreme Speed, Close Combat into the Roaring Moon slot doesn't guarantee a KO into that slot, because if I switch into Gholdengo, they get no damage. So what I was thinking there with not protecting was, okay, if they do, they should either double that slot, or they should double my Iron Hand slot, protecting the Protect on the obvious Extreme Speed, So to make sure that I don't just get like Stomping Tantrum, close combated it and lose my Pokemon, I went for that play. Fortunately, I think I can go Arcanine here. There's an argument for Gholdengo, but I just want to scout out what's in the back here. Ursaluna's in the back, so Gholdengo should clean up with Tera Steel, which is good information to know. They do reveal the Inner Focus. Once again, they have not used their Tera, but I am -1. This is one situation where Drain Punch would be vastly better, but it is what it is. I think if they aren't choiced on the Dragonite, I guess they have to Earth Power by Arcanine. Yeah, I think I'm going to go Ice Punch. Flare Blitz? I think I should just win with... Well, I don't want them to be Assault Vest Dragonite is my issue. So I think I'm going to go Ice Punch into the Dragonite and basically just guarantee some damage into the Ursaluna. They are going for a Tera of their own finally. It might be Tera Normal at this point. Yeah, it makes sense. So they read me last turn. Yeah, they're going for that Tera Normal, which is fine. At this point, I should... Like with the Flare Blitz damage on Ursaluna... Oh, I don't get it. Okay. That's fine. Yeah, that works out just fine. They'll probably take... Oh, I went for Flare Blitz first, which means they did have Stomping Tantrum, and they go for it, yeah. So, yeah, they did end up being Assault Vest, which was the fear here. So, we get the Ice Punch. Well, I guess we don't know. They're Rocky Helmet. Okay, that's totally fine. Because my Gholdengo will almost certainly outspeed... Oh, no, we could lose here for sure. Because of the -1, I might lose to this Ursaluna. Yeah, Tera Steel Make It Rain has to knock it out. But glad we preserved the Tera, otherwise I don't think we would have this knockout. And I'm glad we busted their Protect that turn. Although I guess if they don't Protect, then they get knocked into range of this Make It Rain. If they do, then like... We're in the situation we are now where I would feel reasonably confident this is a knockout into their Ursaluna, but you can never be sure. They could have enough bulk to live this. It's like not an unreasonable thing to calc for. But Ursaluna does have a naturally low special defense stat, so we're going to hope we get this. But definitely could have been a little more optimal with my targeting. Oh man, okay. So Wild Charge would have been better there, yeah. That was a mistake on my part. No, Wild Charge didn't matter. Dang it, okay. Yeah, mismanaged that, okay. I guess, yeah, looking back on that turn, like, the perfect Dragonite set for them, of course, but, like, if they're choice banded, like, I feel like is reasonably safe for me to assume. I do just win that with, Arcanine and Gholdengo in the back, but I didn't cover them being a switching item well enough. Yeah. I think a better approach for me might have been to go Rock Slide close combat there on the Arcanine turn, or bring in Gholdengo first. That way I can pretty much always just clean up with Gholdengo plus Arcanine in the back. Or I can always clean up, if I go Gholdengo first, I can go for Tera Steel Make It Rain, or just normal Make It Rain. That should knock out the Dragonite. At which point, they can probably Extreme Speed my Iron Hands, but it doesn't introduce a point where I have to read the Tera, just because I can go for the Tera Steel, get the guaranteed damage with Wild Charge, Make It Rain, and then Arcanine should clean up in the back. No matter what with Iron Hands, like whichever Pokemon they go after that turn, the combination of the two should beat their Ursaluna the next turn. So yeah, just trying to analyze that game, because it was like, felt very in my favor, and it just kind of lost track of it. But onto this one, we have Munkidori, Heatran, the Worm, they're not Mono Steel, but they're pretty close to it, Kingambit, Ursaluna, and Indeedee. So definitely Trick Room options here to be wary of. I don't hate Articuno. I think Tera Ground is actually exceptional against their team. Don't want to give them a boost on the King Gambit. I think Substitute's quite strong here on the Urshifu, actually. Gholdengo has some juice against specifically the Worm and the Munkidori. It's not great against the Ursaluna. I think... Not sure about this back Pokemon. I feel like I have everything but the Ursaluna covered very well. And I didn't feel like Arcanine would do a good job of beating that as well as King Gambit, so I went with the Roaring Moon, just adding some defense to my team. It could have been the Iron Hands, though. I think if I cleared the terrain with Urshifu, then Iron Hands makes more sense for me there. So it is going to be Indeedee plus the Ursaluna, which is fine, I think. They're kind of forced to protect the Ursaluna. But if they do that, that's totally fine, because I can just go... Yeah, they kind of have to follow me, don't they? Tempted to go right for the... Yikes, okay. I feel like Freezing Glare, Surging Strikes would probably knock them out, but I'm not sure about it. Psychic Terrain is actually of minimal benefit to them, so yeah, I'm just going to go... Surging Strikes, Ice Spinner. If they're Rocky Helmet, which I think they were Psychic Seed, they revealed. Okay, but yeah, they do go follow me, but that's totally fine because I'm denying them Trick Room this turn. They probably expected, honestly, Imprison on this guy, but I don't have that. Okay, no Rocky Helmet, but they are going to live this hit. I kind of forgot that I think Articuno doesn't actually get the Terra Psychic boost to its damage because it's flying. Oh, they do just knock out their own Indeedee, so... Substitute probably would have been, I mean, just based on damage would have been better for me here, but I don't think Earthquake would have been guaranteed to knock them out, so... Not the worst. No Terrors burned from either of us, though, and... Yeah. We are of course, in Great Ball / Ultra Ball, like, playing that caliber of opponent, so we do... have to kind of temper our plays a bit. I think at this point I'm fine going for Double Protect. Or I guess not temper our plays, but just temper our plays is kind of just like, what does that even mean? Basically, we just need to play safe and also, yeah, just play safe and expect some weird stuff. Like, we lost our last one because of a weird Dragonite set. And now we just got to be careful of weird Terras and things like that after denying them Trick Room on a team that probably needs it to do very well. They do go Terra Grass, which is interesting. We actually have Ice Spinner, which is the perfect move in this situation. And I didn't go for the Tera Ground, which otherwise would have exposed me to their one, their Terra, and two, their Earth Eater, Earthworm. Okay, now we figure out the next move. So they're not actually threatening a lot of damage. Their last mon is Ursaluna. They could get a substitute up with that, which would be annoying. How worried am I about Heatran? It's not non-zero. It's a little scary. I think I'm gonna go Freezing Glare, Surging Strike, or Ice Spinner into this Heatran. Just because the damage is going to be decent, it's not going to be great, but it maybe chips it into range of Ice Spinner, and it definitely chips it in range of another Freezing Glare. Yep, we do sizable damage. We're definitely going to get that with a Make It Rain in a couple turns, if we are just like a glancing blow at any point. But they go for Tera Blast, knocking out our Urshifu, which at this point, I guess that could be annoying with their Urshifu, or with the Ursaluna. Like, I'd like to be able to Surging Strike that through their Shed Tail substitute, but beggars can't be choosers. I think we kind of had to take the damage there. I think maybe Terra... Like, I'm wondering if the strategic value of burning my Terra and losing my Urshifu would be worth going for Surging Strike into the Earthworm and hoping that they don't have 50% HP left after that to go for the Shed Tail. I feel like probably yes. I'm not sure the value of my Yeah, I'm not totally sure of the value of my... I'm not stumbling through this, but yeah, I'm not totally sure of the value of my Urshifu there for the prolonged battle. Like, I don't really see myself using my Tera on anything else, so it might have been valuable to just go for it there. Especially since they cannot have protected. I'm going to Freezing Glare into the Ursaluna and protect. Basically, if they go for Facade, they're going to take basically 24, or not 24, they're going to take 1/3 is... Yeah, they protect the Heatran, but yeah, if they take Rocky Helmet, Chip plus Burn, they're getting pretty low, at which point I think a spicy little Make It Rain will knock them out with Terra Steel. Fortunately, we do fade the Substitute there, and they go for Facade into the Roaring Moon, which is ideal. They are leftovers Heatran, so they are getting up. They're probably in range if they have substitute to go for it here, which I am a little wary of. I think at this point I do like Freezing Glare into the Heatran and Breaking Swipe as my play. No reason to Tera either at this point. Yeah, just becoming a ground type weak could bite me if they go for Earthquake, and becoming a ground type immune, or losing my ground type immunity again on the Articuno does nothing against Earthquake, which, yeah, I just want them to, I want to force them to go for Facades into my Articuno if they want to knock it out, at which point Rocky Helmet is kind of doing sizable damage to their Ursaluna along with Burn over time. There is the Facade. I'm fairly confident I'll live this. Oh yeah, we absolutely tank that. At the -1. We would have lived, I believe, without it. Didn't we live at like 2/3 HP, a little above that? Yeah, we did. 80 over 240 would be a third, so we would absolutely have tanked that. Earthworm could potentially body press me. Again, not too worried about that. Iron Defense, not an issue at all. I am just gonna go Breaking Swipe, Freezing Glare. They can't Shed Tail into anything, so we're kind of chilling. But yeah, this Breaking Swipe bulky Roaring Moon has proven to be just so excellent in the battles. I've used it on other teams before, very similar experiences. It's just such a high value Pokemon. It's so disruptive in a lot of ways against most teams, especially with the physical slant of the metagame. They go for the Iron Defense, but again, with unless they have like some very off-meta option on the Earthworm, I'm not worried about that, because the Gholdengo, as long as I don't Tera, will always close that out. EQ does not even knock out the Roaring Moon. At this point, it's looking very bad for them. Yep, Freezing Glare knockoff. At this point, I'm just hoping they knock out my Roaring Moon, truthfully. Like, in terms of time conservation, I would honestly consider going for knockoff Ursaluna Tera Blast into my own Roaring Moon, because that would get me the Gholdengo in one turn earlier if like for some reason they don't go for Iron Body Press into my Roaring Moon here. But yeah, they are... Freeze Dry actually does pretty good damage to the Earthworm. They go for Heavy Slam. That's just wasting your time, big dog. I kind of expect them to forfeit here, but if they don't, again, I want to get that free switch in, so I'm going to go... yeah, I'm going to go knock off Self-Tera Blast, baby. Just to give myself a free turn and switch in faster. Ladder Optimality, everybody. Why did I pronounce that like a Canadian? I am actually Canadian. My dad has a stronger accent than my mom, not a native speaker of English, but yeah, sometimes my girlfriend and my friends will just catch me like pronouncing a word with just some weird intonations, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that's kind of just how I've heard my dad or someone else say it, and for some reason it came across here this time. Ladder Optimality. Self-Tera Blast to get in the Gholdengo. Now we have that free Shadow Ball. We've used so many Freezing Glares. This Articuno and the Roaring Moon combination, very bulky naturally, have a habit of sticking around. especially with Jamie's originally having Recover on this one. I can imagine a lot of late games where this Articuno was just like way too annoying to deal with. But yeah, basically a good answer to body press strategies in general is the Gholdengo, and we just transfer that here. Even against like bulletproof Como, Gholdengo still beats that with Nasty Plot, Make It Rain. So yeah, we're able to just apply general principles of Gholdengo, being good against body press, iron defense stuff, and knock out the problem Steel type early, the Heatran, and we were able to pretty much just clean up late game, even though it didn't end up doing much work because our Roaring Moon and the Articuno were providing good cover fire and taking the knockouts themselves. If they had been applying a bit more pressure to us, maybe gotten a crit at some point, Gholdengo always would have been there to clean it up. Alright, a lot of grass types here. We have Fluttermane, Ogerpon, Gholdengo, Rillaboom, Iron Hands, and Amoonguss. Actually, when I see this team, at first I just saw a bunch of grass types. I think this could be a pretty setup-oriented team. Double Fake Out, Redirection, potentially Redirection on Ogerpon, but I think more likely Swords Dance on Ogerpon, just because of all the suppressing options on their team. Nasty Plot, Gholdengo, and maybe Icy Wind, Fluttermane. Maybe Choice Specs, could be that. But I think Icy Wind would maybe be a little bit more potent. No Intimidate, which is interesting. But no Intimidate blocking from them. I think Arcanine's pretty high value here. If we outspeed their Gholdengo, like if we find that out early, that's very good. I kind of want Arcanine in the field. I feel like Gholdengo in the back might be a little better than it in the front. Just because they could lead some threatening things against it. If they lead their own Gholdengo, that could be annoying. I actually don't mind the idea of Urshifu to an extent. No, I think Gholdengo is probably the safest. Urshifu is a tough bring. I think, yeah, I like Iron Hands, Arcanine, Roaring Moon, Gholdengo. If I can knock off their Fluttermane, if I can get Tailwind up of my own with a couple Nasty Plots up. They do have resistances to Make It Rain, but yeah, the Iron Hands resistance is like notable, but the Ogerpon one, if they don't go for the Terra Water, then they're just taking so much damage from a +2 Terra Steel Life Orb Make It Rain. To the point that, yeah, like +2 essentially ignores the type chart anyways, so we're going to go for maybe 2 Nasty Plots and then try and get that rolling. They go Iron Hands plus Fluttermane. No setup option, which is interesting. There is a concern of them going for a Fairy move, definitely. Power Gem would be something. We didn't see a Booster Energy from them. I feel like locking Shadow Ball makes a lot of sense for them here. I did not bring a good Fairy resistance here. What I'm actually going to do, I'm going to wait for them to lock. I'm going to hope they lock into a move here. I'm going to Flare Blitz into their Fluttermane and Protect. If they go for like a Moonblast or anything and it looks like their damage is or like a Dazzling Gleam and it looks Specs, then fair enough. I can just switch in next turn, but they go for Shadow Ball there, so I feel more comfortable switching into, I guess, Iron Hands this turn. Ooh. No, I think a better play might actually be not burn the Terra, just go for the Flare Blitz. I could go Terra Fairy. That's an option for sure. Yeah. Definitely a compelling case for a couple of plays here. I think I like switching into Roaring Moon, and I like Terra Fairy Blast is really compelling, and I think I will go for that into the Fluttermane. No guarantee it knocks out, but it almost certainly brings it in range of a knockoff, and then I'm pressuring the Iron Hands next turn. And I really only need the Gholdengo Terra for this Shadow Ball and the Gholdengo in the back, and if they have the Gholdengo in the back, I would very much just rather preserve my Arcanine. Be a good play if they went for a Shadow Ball into my Arcanine. It'd be pretty aggressive. Because I feel like even if I do go for a Terra of any kind on Gholdengo that's common, then the Shadow Ball damage is still just very valuable for you. No Terra from them on the Flutter though. They do go for the Shadow Ball into Roaring Moon. Very cohesive switch there for me. And we'll see how Bolgi We'll see how bulky the Fluttermane is. They do live on a little bit. Looks like it was Focus Sash, so going for a Tera on the... Oh yeah, we just take so little damage this turn. Going for the Tera in that previous turn would have been very low value, I'd say. I feel like a switch is reasonably likely. Oh, I can't go for that, can I? They have a good switch in here, kinda. I don't mind. Like, Drain Punch definitely does not knock out my Roaring Moon here. I feel like because they are Focus Sash, they actually aren't threatening that much damage on my Arcanine with Shadow Ball. I think they could protect the Fluttermane here, and I do want to just like get some damage onto the Iron Hands. They go for Dazzling Gleam though, fair enough. That's totally fair. You know what? This was ill-conceived. I think it should have been Knock Off Tera Blast this turn. Oh. That is not a bulky Iron Hands, or I am underestimating Choice Band Arcanine. That damage is crazy. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, they could have maybe gone like Tera Fairy Moonblast, knocked me out there, but they do not, so we're kind of chilling. That's totally fine, them going into that. I can go Gholdengo here and go for Tailwind and be kind of okay. But it would have been better to go for Knock Off the last turn, obviously, then I wouldn't have to basically sacrifice my Roaring Moon here, but it's not too bad overall, I would say. We get the Tailwind up. They could go Trick Room here. That'd be a play. But I think with Iron Hands in the back, that's not the end of the world. They do go for Moonblast right away. I feel like Dazzling Gleam's a little cleaner for them there. But yeah, we do catch this board with the Good as Gold broken ability on the Gholdengo. Okay. So they haven't gone for Protect on Fluttermane yet, which is not super notable, but yeah, something. We're guaranteed to outspeed their Flutter. So what we could do is guarantee a knockout with Make It Rain. Tera Water's still likely on the board for the Amoonguss. Don't want to get got by that. But forcing a Tera is pretty good. I kind of want to go Make It Rain Rock Slide. It's really solid damage. It also potentially gets a flinch and hits pretty much everything in the back for big damage. I think I'll actually just go Flare Blitz. Nasty Plot's pretty compelling. I don't want to get eaten up by a... Yeah, I'm opening myself up to a miss here, but I feel like they should have switched here, or like switched into maybe the Ogerpon or gone for a Tera on Amoonguss. Otherwise, Make It Rain Flare Blitz wins me the game on the spot. But yeah, we do kind of get bailed. That was one aspect of that play, was even if we do not get the turn correctly, we do have the option to flinch them, which is what transpires there. At this point, like I said earlier, they haven't used the Tera yet, which is okay. I think Make It Rain is most of the damage that we need. Probably a double protect here if I had to guess. But I think resetting Intimidate is high value here. We'll be able to lock down whatever HP is remaining in the late game with the Arcanine and basically make our Iron Hands very, very bulky with Intimidate against the Ogerpon to let it get that wild charge off. They'll basically need to crit the Iron Hands to make their way out of this game, I'd expect. Crit Gholdengo with Ivy Cudgel this turn, and they can't even do it this turn. They'd have to protect their Amoonguss, go for Tera, crit Ivy Cudgel my Gholdengo, and then, I don't know, maybe double protect their Amoonguss as they just go Flare Blitz Wild Charge. Yeah, it's very dire for them. After that flinch, they could have spored my Arcanine, but we got off with the Nasty Plot and free damage. Maybe should have just played with the understanding that if they do go for the Tera, okay, that is the start of the sequence I described. Maybe if I just go Flare Blitz that turn and make it rain. I guess I'm just so weak without the Nasty Plot against the Ogerpon, it's kind of difficult. Oh my god, that did so much. Okay. That is crazy damage output. We will take it. And they go for the Ivy Cudgel, and it is into the Iron Hands. That is unfortunately not what you want. They do not get the crit, and we should just be able to go for a Make It Rain, which is stronger than Shadow Ball, even single target. For most of Sword and Shield's history, for some reason I thought that 75% of the 120 was actually 80, and it was the same as Shadow Ball, but no, it is Make It Rain is even stronger than one single target Shadow Ball. They go for the Spiky, makes sense. They're gonna have to get Double Protect on the Mungus though. Oh, I didn't track my Tailwind. I kind of just like stopped paying attention to the Tailwind. In theory, maybe it's a little better to go Wild Charge there if Tailwind's up, but they're always gonna try and Spiky Shield to dodge damage and stall Tailwind anyways, and we just knock out the Amoonguss. So Ogerpon, very good Pokemon at bringing comebacks around, but not when it's just like so many Pokemon that need to be hit by single target attacks when you're low on HP. Yep, we're just gonna go for our big damage and close it out. I think, yeah, most of these battles have shown just how really strong the Gholdengo is. Like, this team definitely gives you lots of openings with the defensive and offensive synergy to just weave in the nasty plots and sweep games with it. We only got one off this battle instead of like 2 in previous battles, and it was still enough. Just with the Life Orb damage, you're essentially pushing a lot of calcs that might be suspect way over the edge in your favor. But yeah, they took a different approach to this than I expected. I kind of felt like Gholdengo or Ogerpon's setup is what their team is optimized for, and they weren't able to go for that against us for some reason, so our own setup was able to roll them over on some level. Wow, okay, that is probably the first time I've seen Dusknoir in a competitive battle since like Pokemon Battle Revolution or something, so that's really cool to see. It is an Ogerpon, Fluttermane, Rillaboom, Chi-Yu, Ninetales, Alola outside of that. Arcanine feels pretty strong here, truthfully. If I can deal with the Ogerpon, I just beat most of their Pokemon straight up. No Intimidate, so Articuno is kind of suspect. I don't really see the value out of the Tera Ground. Gholdengo, strong against literally all their team except for the Ogerpon and the Chi-Yu, which are notable weaknesses for sure. But both of those fold to Iron Hands with some help. A lot of grass types. I don't love that for Urshifu. I think Roaring Moon, Arcanine might be my lead here. That is like one of the very common leads of this team. And Iron Hands and Gholdengo just have a lot of synergy, as I described. Curious what the Dusknoir is doing. It definitely has a Trick Room option. Obviously it has all the moves that Dusclops can get, but decidedly less bulk in exchange for a bit of attack power and the ability to hold an item, which is generally not worth it. But hey, maybe it's like Mental Herb. So they do lead Ogerpon plus Flutter, which is totally fine. We do see a booster energy from them, which means their booster energy speed because they act... Wait, what? Oh, okay. No, they're booster energy special attack, but they're just they're pretty fast. Because we activate second, but we are invested so much in bulk that we get the speed first. I think Terra Poison isn't bad for me here, but switching into an Ivy Cudgel is not good. It could be Shadow Ball. Yeah, I don't want to lose my Arcanine just yet. It's really strong against most of their team. I think I like going into Gholdengo, and I actually can't even knock off their Flutter. That's interesting. I'm just going to go Breaking Swipe, Terra Poison. I'm going to Terra Poison right away. Might come back to bite me, but I really don't want to just lose my Roaring Moon right away, just because I think Fluttermane with booster energy special attack generally trained to be very bulky, so I'm not confident that even a very strong Choice Banded Arcanine Flare Blitz will knock it out. There's, I feel like, maybe a chance they live. That might be foolish, actually. But they could always go for, like, Follow Me, Dazzling Gleam there, so I want to be covering that. They do protect the Flutter, so probably going to get a pretty high value Breaking Swipe here if they don't crit either of my Pokemon. Nope, Spiky Shield, which is totally fine by me. Did they have Iron Hands? I don't remember. I don't think so. But we do end up wasting our Tera there. Going for Tera Steel would be kind of nice here. Good play from them because... yeah, I would say they only have Chi-Yu as a switch in, which is fine, but isn't going to love taking Breaking Swipe. And basically loosening up their Ogerpon also isn't great for them. You go for Tailwind. No Tera from their Flutter Mane, which means they're going to fold to this Life Orb Make It Rain. If I was leftovers, they would probably live. But yeah, you're not taking that. They might not have just had they might not have had a good switch in, but I think trading Flutter Mane for my forced Tera and some pretty sizable damage with Ivy Cudgel on either of my Pokemon is fair enough. Oh, Encore. Interesting. Yeah, that's very interesting. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that's cool. I feel like I'll outspeed any of their Pokemon if they are not Choice Scarf outside of the Ninetales, so I'm fine with that Encore. I'm totally fine to switch and lose my booster energy. But Chi-Yu comes in. Okay, very interesting. Alright, I could... Yeah, that's annoying. Chi-Yu is a bit annoying here. I feel kind of forced to switch out, but I think Iron Hands is like relatively safe. All things considered, the -1 is not lovely though. I'll admit that. I want to preserve the Arcanine because after Tailwind ends, Extreme Speed after I chip the Ogerpon could be pretty good. And this also kind of forces maybe a Tera out from the Chi-Yu. They switch out the Ogerpon, so Arcanine would have been relatively free on a Heat Wave here, but yeah, it is what it is. Dusknoir out. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, that's a cool play. Dusknoir does end up coming out. We might be able to knock that off and see what it goes for. They go for Dark Pulse, not Heat Wave, so go unpunished for not switching in the Arcanine, which is fine by me. 2 turns of Tailwind left. I feel like I should probably preserve the Arcanine here, or preserve the Gholdengo, so that I can handle the Dusknoir a little bit better. I think I'm gonna go Shadow Ball. Are you gonna Tera, are you? Alright, if they Tera Ghost, good play. Okay, they're not. They're just gonna lose their Ogerpon most likely. I went for Close Combat Shadow Ball. I think at -1, even with Life Orb, their Chi would probably live it if they went for Tera Ghost, but just wanted to make sure we get that damage off. The switch maybe suggests that they are Choice Scarf or Choice Specs, because yeah, if I knock out the... Yeah, I could have Fake Outed them, potentially. I don't know. Can't assume too much, but they might have been Choice Specs there. They go for Poltergeist into my Iron Hands, which is going to do a lot of damage. Dusknoir has like decently high attack stat. That did a lot, actually. I'm wondering if that damage is Choice Banded, truthfully. That was just a lot of damage that I wasn't expecting to take. Okay. That's very interesting. Alright. I still have Tailwind up. I think I'm going to go for... I think Shadow Ball... Shadow Ball could do a lot of damage in their Dusknoir. think I'm going to follow up with the same play. Maybe I'm supposed to go Wild Charge there, but they don't end up tearing their Chi-Yu, so close combat's going to be a knockout regardless. But I was a little worried about Tera Ghost because then I could... Oh, that is Choice Scarf. Okay, it was Choice Scarf. Otherwise, they would not be able to outspeed the Iron Hand, so that's pretty interesting. The Poltergeist ultimately did soften me up enough for that to knock out. That's not a huge issue though, because I should just be able to go Arcanine and hit Rock Slide and protect with the Roaring Moon, and then I should beat the Dusknoir 1v1 with knockoff on my Roaring Moon. But yeah, interesting. The Choice Scarf Chi-Yu able to outspeed even the speedy Iron Hands and Tailwind. Clear Amulet, yeah, definitely super strong Dusknoir there. I could Flare Blitz if I was really feeling... I don't think it's going to knock out, and I don't want them to be Tera Ghost and stupidly lock into that. So I'm going to go Rock Slide, even though I am risking a miss here. I feel like Flare Blitz could potentially be a choke if they Heat Wave Poltergeist, knock out my Arcanine, and they don't tear their Chi-Yu, which they finally look to be doing. Okay. Tera Go. Oh, yeah. Yeah, if I missed this Rock Slide, Extreme Speed probably would have been better there, but yikes, okay. So I think E-Speed might knock out the Chi-Yu, not sure. But Rock Slide definitely will if I hit, but that's only 90%. We miss 190% here, but we do double connect, which is very good luck for us. I'm pretty sure Poltergeist will knock out my Arcanine if they go for that. We do flinch them, just very fortunate luck on that Rock Slide overall, and now we just Rock Slide knock off and close it off. The Encore on the Ogerpon definitely made things a bit trickier, but yeah, because we could have been spamming knockoff, going for breaking swipes, basically really weakening their team with the Roaring Moon, but even switching it in and out, the Iron Hands acted as enough of a defensive pivot or defensive point that we were able to figure it out regardless. So that is going to do it for our battles today, featuring Jamie Boyt's 9th place at the Gdansk Regional Championship in Poland team. Just, again, missed on opponent's resistance, really unlucky, but yeah, I think the Articuno on this team is really cool, really innovative. I didn't get too much use out of it, but I think the bulkiness combined with the Rocky Helmet plus Intimidate, Breaking Swipe, you can definitely get a lot of passive damage with the Rocky Helmet and then just do a ton of damage with Freezing Glare, basically potential to get freezes over time or to go for really strong Tera Ground Tera Blast and things like Arcanine, Heatran, which would otherwise resist your attacks. The Roaring Moon and the Gholdengo seemed like the strongest mode on the team to me. Basically going for the Gholdengo setup with Iron Hands early on and then bringing in the Roaring Moon later on to go for a Tailwind and just go for fast, boosted Terra Steel, Life Orb, Make It Rains was really potent. If you want to try the team for yourself, I have the Pokepaste in the description below, along with the rental code in the description below, with the as well as just in the top right of the video. If you want to check out Jamie's channel on YouTube, he has a video outlining how he built the team, how the tournament went, and just general game plans and advice on using the team for yourself. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel, and yeah, peace y'all.